Welcome to the Happiness Playbook, a podcast where we explore the why and how of happiness. I'm your host, Neil Hooper, and I just wanted to remind you that life is a team sport, so let's play together. Hey everybody, I am so excited for today's episode. For the first time, we are coming at you with video. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, highly recommend you head over to our YouTube channel to check it out because we're doing, a little intro and everything. And today's episode is really fun because I went for a stroll outside. We were talking about be present. And so I wanted to really focus on how we can be extra present and detached from technology. And so I just went outside. And you'll see in the episode that I decided to be spontaneous and actually just ask a few people I was passing by on the trail what they thought about be present, what it means to be present, and why it's important. And so we got some really fun conversations out of that as well. But I'm really excited for today's episode. Thank you for joining me today. And without any further ado, let's hop on the trail. So we're going to be ultra present today and just talk about the importance of not only being present and the benefits of being present for your emotional health and your physical health, but also some very practical application on how you can be more present yourself. So very excited for today's episode. I got my phone here with some notes, so I'll just be reading from those. But other than that, let's do this. So let's start off today with our highlight reel, where we talk about the good news happening in the world. For today's highlight reel, I wanted to do something a little different. And since we're talking about being present, I'm actually going to read off the top 10 simple pleasures. There was a survey put out by the Small Luxury Hotels of the World, and they interviewed 2,000 people here in the US and asked them what their top simple pleasures were. So what were the little things they liked doing? And so I just wanted to read, there's actually a list of 50, and we're gonna link those in the show notes, but there's just the top 10 I'm gonna start us off with. Well, and I'm actually gonna see if I can ask somebody a question here. Oh, we got a cute little dog here. How's it going, doggy? Hey, I got a quick question for you guys. I do a podcast called the Happiness Playbook, and I'm doing an episode today on the power of being present. And I was curious if you had like 30 seconds just to tell me what it means to be present to you, to like be in the moment, and maybe why it's important.
I think it's very nice to be present and kind to other people and notice what they're going through when you see them. If they're happy, sad, try and lift them up. That's, to me, is being present in other people's lives.
I love that. And it's hard to be present. There's so much distraction now. So
Right.
I think it's really important because we're
Right.
not able to help others if we're not present.
Right.
And I love that. Did you have any thoughts?
I was just, to me, it's like an awareness
Yeah.
that you are present. You're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of all of it. Whether peaceful or stormy or good or bad, you're just more aware.
It is.
We collect garbage and stuff along here, so we're like aware of people's slothfulness.
I
We
love it.
try to make it a better place.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for your contribution.
great day.
Yeah, you too. Awesome. Well, there you go. Being present, being aware. I love that. And, she brings up a good point too. They're out here picking up trash. And she says, that's being aware of others' slothfulness. I would say, and I agree with her, those that are throwing the trash out are not being present with the impact their actions are having. Very cool. Very great insights. Impromptu. So they accepted and built upon my offer, and I'm grateful for that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get back into the highlight reel. Hey, so during my walk, when I was getting ready to share the top 10 pleasures, the GoPro turned off, and so we don't have that footage. So I'm going to recap here what those top 10 pleasures were. Number 1 was listening to your favorite songs. Number 2, a nice dinner. Number 3, watching your favorite movie. Number 4, finishing a really good book. Number 5, doing exercise. Number 6, spotting a species of bird you've never seen before. Number 7, seeing flowers and trees blossom. Number 8, wearing an outfit that makes you feel good. Number 9, home cooking. And number 10, a match on Tinder or Hinge or other dating site with someone you're attracted to. So there's a lot more, obviously, that we're going to share in the show notes. But how neat is it? And as we're talking about being present, there are simple pleasures in life, whether it's your favorite song coming on the radio, or, as they mentioned, doing exercise, or spotting a species of bird you've never seen before. These little pleasures, simple pleasures in life, we will totally miss if we're not being present. And I love this article and this focus on the simple pleasures, because there is so much in any given moment that we can express gratitude for. And these little simple pleasures are things that we will miss if we're not being present. And so I just wanted to emphasize that. And I'd love to know, what simple pleasures do you have? For me, one of my simple pleasures is just spreading the peanut butter over a piece of bread when you get just the right angle, and you just kind of smear it. It's a simple pleasure of mine, and I can only experience that pleasure when I'm being present. So what are your simple pleasures? Share with us, and let's get back to the walk. Okay, I want to kick off our play-by-play today with a little poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar. A little bird with feathers brown beside my window flutters down. A moment chirps its little strain, then taps upon my window pane, and chirps again and hops along to call my notice to its song. But I work on nor heed its lay, till in neglect it flies away. I love that poem for so many reasons. Principally, I love asking myself the question, how many little birds in my life are flying away in neglect? I recognize there are seasons of busyness, right? Aubrey, my wife, and I know seasons of busyness. We are just coming out of one of those with the renovation of our duplex that I mentioned a few episodes ago. But when distraction becomes the default setting for our day-to-day lives, life loses its savor, and we become very distracted, and the purpose in life and our day-to-day is diminished greatly. So it's so important that we are not neglecting those little birds, the metaphorical birds that hop in our windowsill. So the quality of your relationships is directly correlated with the amount of time you put into those relationships. I love a quote, if we don't make time for our friends, we won't have any. And it's so important that we are being present and recognizing those opportunities when the birds come chirping at our windowsill. There's somebody walking up here, so let's see if we can get their thoughts. Hey, quick question. I'm the host for the Happiness Playbook podcast, and today's episode is about the power of being present. And so I'm just getting thoughts from people as they come along about what it means to be present in the moment, and maybe why that's important. Do you have like 30 seconds to just give a little sound bite for me?
I'm actually on a phone call right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, no worries. Be present with the phone call.
There you go.
Yeah. We'll see ya. Okay, so she was taking a phone call. That's okay. She had to be present there. That's another good point. Being present is kind of an inherently difficult topic, because at any given moment you could be present with different things. And so I love the concept. There's no such thing as multitasking. You're really just shifting your focus rapidly between whatever tasks you are multitasking with. And so like her, she had a phone call, and then she had me engaging in conversation. To be, what did it mean in that moment to be present, right? She had to make a choice, and a lot of the times it really does come down to choice. in this moment, what are you choosing to be present with? And it's important that we are choosing to be present with the best things. So if you apply that to anytime you sit down to use your computer, you know, there are an infinite number of things you could be present with. Especially with every tab you open, there is something else vying for your presence, for your attention. And so you, in those moments especially, need to decide, what am I going to be present with? So here's a first very practical tip for being present, something I've started doing very recently and have seen huge benefits. I have a little whiteboard, and you could use anything. It could be a piece of paper. If you have a whiteboard, great. If not, you just set it next to your desk when you are sitting down to work, and you write in that moment what your focus is. I call it my one thing. There's a great book, I think by Gary Chapman, called The One Thing. And anyway, I just write down my one thing. Like, what am I focusing on in that moment? For you to focus, go all in on one thing, is a very powerful concept and really helps you deliver quality. And there's this concept we've talked about in the past of being diluted. And anytime you're splitting your focus and attention between various tasks or roles or objectives or projects, you are diluting your efforts and usually giving poorer quality work to the various tasks. And so this concept of being present, you know, having your one thing and just going deep on that is very important, because 5 minutes of totally undistracted, focused attention is way more effective than 30 minutes of distracted, diluted attention. And so if you can go all in for 5 minutes and then shift to the next task, that is a very powerful way to be present. So that is the first tip. That might as well be the pro tip. So get a piece of paper. Here's your pro tip for the week. Get a piece of paper or a whiteboard, and when you are sitting down to get work done, whether that's schoolwork, project work, whatever that is, or if you're, you know, a stay-at-home parent and you're trying to, you know, get ahead with the chores and schoolwork with your kids, sit down and give your one thing. Write down your one thing, and when you've accomplished that or you've given it adequate attention, erase it, throw it away, and then write out your next thing. Just do that for one day and see how it impacts you and affects your focus and productivity. And I'd love to hear about it, so send us a message. I just want to touch on the benefits of being present. And especially today, since the theme is to get outside, there is loads of evidence of the benefits of going outside and detaching from technology. So I just wanted to read here. There's obviously physical benefits. Aside from the obvious vitamin D benefits of letting the sun touch your skin, there is a Forbes.com article that says hundreds of studies have linked spending time outside to better health outcomes, like decreases in incidences of diabetes and cardiovascular mortality, lower blood pressure and heart rate, and better immune system function. In fact, these positive effects that are so well documented are so well documented that more and more doctors, get this is awesome, are issuing nature prescriptions to help treat a range of conditions from heart disease, hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes, to chronic stress, depression, and anxiety, insomnia, and even PTSD. I think this is so cool that the medical community is really embracing and acknowledging the benefits of getting outside and prescribing, giving nature prescriptions. That's amazing. Okay, so I got to be present crossing the road here real quick. Okay. But just being out, I just got to tell you, I love being outside. It's been cold here in Utah for a while, and it just feels so good. I can hear the birds chirping. There's flowers. I mean, just look at this. Just strolling next to the river here. I love it. Love it, absolutely love it. So there are obviously physical health benefits. We touched on a few of the mental health benefits as well. I don't know about you, but when I'm having a stressful day, not only is it good to get out and get some fresh air and to, just to connect with nature, but changing the scenery, changing your environment is also a huge benefit that can help you recharge, detach from the stress, and really come back to the task at hand or the project recharged and ready to go. So yeah, there are tons of mental health benefits as well. We mentioned anxiety, depression, PTSD, all of those things are really diminished by going outside and just changing up your scenery. It is just so good to get outdoors and to change your environment. And that can help you shift your mindset, and just getting outside and changing things up really helps you come back ready to go, recharged with more focus and energy to dedicate to the task at hand. And so what might seem like a disruption to your productivity is actually an investment that will give you an incredible benefit and return on that investment. Sorry, I'm using business terms here, but you will get, the outcome will be amazing, and you'll actually be able to get more done because you will have recharged and refocused. So I love being outdoors. I want everyone listening to this to go outdoors. So this is I don't know if we've ever done this. I'm actually gonna give you 2 pro tips. So your second pro tip, aside from the one thing, I want you to get outside. Go outside for 30 minutes, and if you can, leave your phone at home, or at least put it in airplane mode, and just really be present and connect with nature. Okay, so there you go, 2 bonus tips for this week's episode. Here's another person. Let's see if we can get some thoughts. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing very good. I'm the host of the Happiness Playbook podcast.
Oh, cool.
And this week's episode is on be present. That's actually why I'm out here recording it.
Okay.
Okay, so what does it mean to be present, and why is that important?
I personally think being present is just being like in the moment and not caught up in the past or worried about the future. And I think it's important because, it's part of mindfulness, and that's been proven to be one of the best things for your mental health. And I don't know, I think that's super important.
I love that.
Yeah.
Regrets in the past, anxieties in the future, but the life is happening right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Dogs help too, right?
They do. If I'm caught up in the past or the future with him, he's gonna run all over the place. So it's important to be present.
That's right. Awesome.
Yeah.
What was your name?
I'm Sarah.
Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And well, something you've heard me say repeatedly on the podcast. You just heard it from a random stranger. There's something to be said about pets as well and what they do for our emotional health. Dogs are really good at being present. And there's something to be learned there about a dog's ability to just turn on happiness. They might be so sad and, while you're gone, but the second you come home, they leave all that behind and they're happy because they're with you and they're present. So anyway, there's something to be learned there from dogs as well about being present. Thanks for joining me today on this unique episode of the Happiness Playbook. I am so grateful for the insights we got from our friends here on the trail. Remember this week to get outside, go connect with nature, detach from technology, and make sure that your distraction is not creating metaphorical trash for others. Don't let those chirping birds fly away neglected on your windowsill. Anxieties in the future, regrets in the past, but life is right now in the moment. So be present this week. And as always, remember that happiness is a skill and life is a team sport. Catch you next week.